Politics in Kenya has very dramatically shifted gears in recent weeks. And perhaps the most dramatic confirmation of this was at the funeral of the mother of the Kisumu governor, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o. We all know that the president has warned politicians not to talk about 2022, to focus on current developments, to focus on delivering to the voters and to the wananchi the promises made during the 2017 electioneering. The president has also said several times, most of the times while being angry, that people should not use funerals for campaigns or for political talk. In fact, in one hilarious incident, the president told Kenyans, huyo mtu ambaye amekufa hata kusaidia. And yet, at the funeral yesterday, Friday, the speeches that dominated the function were about politics, and specifically about succession politics. And don't even think of writing a comment, telling me, Chris, those people were talking, against the wishes of Raila and Uhuru at the function. Because in case you didn't know, these people who follow around Raila Odinga and the president are always very careful to make politically correct statements. And what is more, several politicians saying the same thing tells you very clearly all those politicians cannot be politically incorrect. Which means the writing should be clearly on the wall. That the gears have shifted, and indeed shifted very dramatically, in the local ongoing battle between Team Keleweke and Team Tangatanga. And we shall dive into that very, very deeply. But before we do that, let's rush to Muranga, where some very dramatic developments happened yesterday. Super dramatic developments that saw the Muranga women's representative, Sabina Chege, shed tears in public in front of the crowd. Now, I'm aware of reports in sections of the media, and indeed in a tweet from the Muranga women's representative, where she denies that there was any drama at that meeting. And she says it was a wonderful meeting. Well, in this video, I would like to stick to the facts. And the facts are as follows. Sabina Chege was in her home county of Muranga, and she had accompanied, or rather was hosting, a new women's lobby group called the Embrace Lobby Group. Of course, this seems to come from the handshake. After a handshake, there's an embrace. And the objective of this new lobby group is to popularize the agenda of the handshake team, or Team Keleweke, if you want to put it like that. And trouble started when the host, Sabina Chege, stood up to speak. There was a section of the crowd that started booing her, jeering her. Now, this seems to have really upset Sabina, because although she's a second-term legislator, it seems she's not used to being booed. Or rather, she has never experienced it before, which is strange, because a doctor once in a while will get infected by an infectious disease from one of their patients. It should not happen. It's bad luck, but it's what we call occupational hazards. Therefore, being jeered or booed is an occupational hazard for any politician anywhere in the world. Now, super interesting is the people who are jeering her, were chanting the name, wait for this one, of Deputy President William Ruto. Now, hold on a minute. This is bang in the middle of Central Province, in Muranga, and there are people cheering and shouting the name of the Deputy President. So huyu mtu atashinda presidency hata bila kutoa jasho? Relax, hold your horses. This is politics. And I'm not talking about primary school politics, when you're being elected as a prefect. Yeah, and the loudest cheers carried the day. Hey, relax. This is national politics. Utajua ujui? People cheering or jeering you means zero. What matters is what people do when they are alone in that booth casting their vote. Now, of course, supporters of DP William Ruto, my dear brothers and sisters, whom I love very much, I have nothing against them. I have nothing against your candidate. But I'm sure supporters of DP Ruto will be quick to say, Chris, you see, you don't like the deputy president. You don't. Well, I'm a political analyst, and I must analyze. I don't play to the gallery. I analyze. I'm sure most of you come to this channel for sober, brutal analysis. Yeah, I think if you want somebody who plays to the gallery, this is not the forum. Yeah, I recommend Facebook, some Facebook pages. And let me just give you a quick example of what cheers can do sometimes in politics, how they can fool a politician. In the 1997 presidential race, a candidate called Mwai Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki received a rousing welcome everywhere he went in the Rift Valley. Yeah, most of the Rift Valley was completely fed up with President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi as he was going for his last term. And the feeling on the ground, was that he should go, he should leave office sooner rather than later. And his own Kalenjin community wanted to send a message to Moi that was loud and clear. So they chose Mwai Kibaki. And they cheered him very wildly. And many of them swore that they'd vote for him. Some rallies which former President Moi, who was then president, held in the Rift Valley did not end well. For the first time during his long presidency, he was booed by his own people. Now, as an inexperienced political analyst, and if you had a channel, you'd rush to your channel and say, Rift Valley is 100% Mwai Kibaki. Moi will lose by a landslide. Nothing like that happened. The people of the Rift Valley cheered Mwai Kibaki. But when it came to the elections, they walked into the election booths and voted for Moi almost to a man. That is politics. And you cannot rule out somebody sending a cheer squad or a booing squad to a rally to disrupt things. That's very normal in politics. Now, ordinarily, in any large meeting, people will be quiet unless provoked. People will clap politely or they'll laugh. They'll not have any strong emotions. That's normal in any meeting. So it is very easy to send a group of about 100 or even 50 enough if they have loud enough voices. And if they come to such a meeting, they can easily disrupt it completely by ensuring that certain speakers don't speak. Now, I'm not saying the deputy president doesn't have support in Central Province. He has, and I believe it's larger than most people realize. However, just because Sabina Joy was shouted down by a section of the crowd in Muranga, that does not qualify you to rush off and say the deputy president has the whole of Muranga or the deputy president has the whole of Central Province. No way. That would not make you a political analyst. That would make you a naive person trying to analyze politics. So back to tearful Sabina. She got so upset that she lost her cool. And she said, I quote, I swear, if you are here having been sent by somebody. What? That didn't work. So she decided to persuade them. And she said, I quote, I beseech you, as your county mother, do not disrespect me in front of my guests. That also did not work. So the legislator burst into tears in front of the large crowd in Muranga. And other women leaders at the function, including Rachel Shebesh, former Nairobi women's representative, rushed to her rescue, and calmed her down. Gave her another handkerchief because the one she already had was already soaked, etc., etc. Now, before we go any further, let us answer a very simple question. What was the problem here? Well, in simple terms, it appears that Sabina Chege has abandoned Team Tanga Tanga for Team Kieleweke. And that is crystal clear. Because first of all, remember this was an Embrace rally. The Embrace lobby group. And the Embrace people, or the Embrace women, are supposed to go countrywide to popularize the handshake team, Team Kieleweke. Okay, you may want to argue as a woman representative, this was her county, and therefore she had to welcome even the opposing people who are opposed to her political views. Fine. Then explain what she said next. She told the crowd that people should respect the president and allow him to finish his 3 years remaining. The 3 years remaining in his term. She very clearly insinuated that those involved in early campaigns, going all over the country, are sabotaging President Uhuru Kenyatta's final term. So let us get that clear. Sabina Chege, at least as of Friday, because politics changes all the time, is no longer in Team Tanga Tanga. And indeed, that is the reason why she was booed. Because the people who were booing her were shouting the DP Ruto name. Therefore, if she was in that team of DP Ruto, they'd have allowed her to speak. And they'd have cheered her on, knowing that she's on their side. However, they were opposed to her. So it should be very clear she's no longer in Team Tanga Tanga. What is happening here? Because very many people are leaving the deputy president's camp. And of course that means nothing. This is politics. Who knows what made some of these people jump ship? They may have been threatened. Politics gets very ruthless most of the times, the world over. A file may have been waved at them. Oh yes. Now I'm going to say something that most of you are not going to like. With great respect to the women's representative, and I respect women very much, as those regulars of this channel will know. I think we have people in Kenyan politics, even if they're serving a second term, who are naive politicians. And both sides of the political divide have such politicians. Okay? What do I mean by naive politicians? These are mostly politicians who play politics the short-term way. Now, politics, if you're a seasoned politician, and any seasoned politician will tell you that, is that whatever you do, you never burn your bridges. You never dismantle and destroy your enemies completely. Why? Because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. And in most cases, you need those people you're trying to destroy and completely embarrass in your political talk. You may need them tomorrow. Rather, most probably, you'll need them tomorrow. That's how politics is. The smart, seasoned politicians normally play their game in such a way that yes, they're in a certain team, yes, they have said they're in that team, but they don't rub it in. And they still reach out to people on the other side. They still communicate, they still talk, and even when they're bashing them in their speeches, they bash them with caution. They bash them with respect. This is why I say, and with great respect to the Deputy President, his brand of politics and those who follow them is very new in the game of politics the world over. It is an attempt to reinvent the wheel, to reinvent politics, which I believe is already falling flat on its face. The Deputy President himself stands up at a podium, and with little respect to the high office he holds, he starts using abusive language towards Raila Odinga, and completely dismantles and destroys him, calls him Muganga, witch doctor, and derides him and makes fun of him. Yeah. You know, there's a danger when you take that approach, that you could even upset your own staunch supporters. People are different. You might have one of your elderly supporters who will say, hapana, huyu mtu anatusi mtu ambaye ni mkubwa wake. Yeah. I don't accept and I don't condone young people talking insultingly towards people much older than them. I won't accept that. And therefore, my vote for you, gone. Oh yes, that is human nature. And you cannot separate human nature from politics. In fact, you will not go anywhere in politics if you don't respect human nature and understand it and play your politics according to it. Anyway, this brand of politics, that is the same brand practiced by those who follow the deputy president, including Sabina Chege, has its consequences. Negative consequences on the people practicing it. And I think this was clearly illustrated yesterday in Muranga. How so? The Muranga women's representative has become very accustomed to going to meetings, using abusive language towards the opponents and being cheered on. Then all of a sudden, she's in a meeting and she's not being cheered on. She has not even spoken. She's being jeered and booed, and the name of the deputy president shouted in her face. It was too much. Too much for a person accustomed to playing emotional politics or emotionally based politics. And she just had to break down into tears. Anyway, this is a good opportunity to take a quick look at the background of Muranga Women's Representative Sabina Chege, especially in view of controversies that have arisen in recent times, from her co-wife. Oh yes, she's a second wife. But let us back up, even further backwards, so that we understand this thing more clearly. Sabina Chege graduated from the University of Nairobi with a Bachelor's of Education degree. She did her secondary school in Mgoiri Girls. She is 40 years old. Okay. In 2005, she worked for World Space Africa as a regional manager. In 2007, when all hell broke loose in local politics, with the clashes and all that, she was at that time a programs controller at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. Actually, Sabina became very famous to Kenyans through her acting career. She was a very great actress, and she made her name in the TV program Tausi. Now, the drama with this co-wife starts in 2012. This is in the run-up to the 2013 elections, when Sabina Chege was elected for the very first time. Indeed, her post did not exist before the 2013 elections. Now, in the run-up to those elections in 2012, Sabina was looking for a BMW vehicle. And that's how she met her current husband, Gadhitu Maina. Because Gadhitu Maina was selling us a BMW, which Sabina accepted. And they agreed that Sabina will pay for the vehicle in installments. Now, she fell behind in her payments, and auctioneers were sent to recover the vehicle. Gadhitu Maina stepped in. He's a former chairman of the dairy board. He stepped in and helped negotiate a settlement that would allow Sabina to keep her vehicle. Now, everything changed after those negotiations, because after that, Bwana Gadhitu Maina emerged as the chief campaigner for Sabina Chege, and a very close friend. Now, fascinatingly, until that time, Sabina Chege was more associated with the very famous Kikuyu benga musician, John De Matthew. She has even appeared on videos of his music. And she has even been immortalized in one of his numbers. I believe it's called Njata Yakwa. Where she's praised as his only one, blah, 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 blah. Honorable Chege had her traditional marriage with Maina in 2015. Maina was, of course, already married to his first wife, whom he wedded in a very colorful church wedding on September 7th, 1996. I believe it was in Nairobi West. And sources say, the rumors, or the talk, which was doing the rounds, accusing the Honorable Member of Parliament of being a husband snatcher, originated from Wanjiku Maina, his first wife, the first wife of her husband. But fortunately, her husband's family has stood firmly behind her. They say they recognize her as a wife and they really love her. She's part of the family. The Honorable Muranga Women's Representative is a mother of 3, and one of her children is Maina's child. She has had the child with Maina. Children tend to cement a marriage. Now, the reason why I've included this information is not for gossip value, although I accept it's a very hot gossip. The reason why I've included it is because of her husband, Bwana Gathitu Maina, who is a staunch supporter of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Those who are wise can now begin to understand the emotional pressure Sabina must be going through right now. Indeed, the emotional pressure she's been going through all this time, even as she supported the DP Ruto camp. Very fascinating developments there. But now, let us move to Kisumu, Siaya actually, to the funeral of Professor Anyang' Nyong'o's late mother, where succession politics was discussed in detail. The minority leaders in both houses, John Mbandi and James Orengo, were very categorical in their speeches yesterday. They urged President Uhuru Kenyatta to seal his legacy by ensuring that he chooses his successor carefully. They even told the president to be careful not to choose a successor who is a thief. Now, at a time when the Embrace lobby group has been formed to drum up support for the handshake team countrywide, and this is a group of lady legislators and politicians, such statements coming from John Mbandi and James Orengo, of all people, are very telling. It would seem that we have crossed the bridge called no early campaigns before 2022, and we have crossed to another side where the agenda is the successor must be named. The successor must be identified early enough. And campaigns for that successor must start as soon as possible. That's really what this is all about. So who is Uhuru Kenyatta's successor? Well, the fact that these statements were being made by ODM kingpins, and the fact that these statements were being made in Luo Nyanza, would seem to suggest that President Uhuru Kenyatta's successor hails from Luo Nyanza. Or the successor is most probably going to name hails from Luo Nyanza. That should be obvious. And that successor is either Raila Odinga or somebody handpicked by Raila Odinga. That also should be obvious. Now, all indications are that Raila Odinga will run for the presidency in 2022. However, Raila Odinga is full of surprises, and it is also possible that he could name a successor. His successor, who will also be President Uhuru Kenyatta's successor for the presidency. And many people are mentioning one name and one name alone. And that name is James Agri Orengo. Now, either way, don't get too excited. Because successors being named in Kenya has usually meant nothing. In past cases, people have named successors, campaigned for those successors, and then the voters are flatly rejected the said successors. I think the best example is 2002, when retired President Daniel Arap Moi, who was then the president leaving power, made it very clear that his preferred heir was Uhuru Kenyatta. Well, we know what happened. The voters, the electorate, rejected Uhuru Kenyatta in what to date is the only fair and rigged verifiable presidential election that has ever taken place in Kenya. Because if those elections were to be rigged, Uhuru Kenyatta would have won them. Yeah. So the long and short of what I'm saying, President Uhuru Kenyatta naming a successor, as far as politics is concerned, means nothing. I would like to draw your attention to a tweet by former Chief Justice Willy Mutunga, in response to one member of the Team Tanga Tanga. The former Chief Justice said very clearly that Kenyans are looking for new blood. Not Raila, not Uhuru, not DP Ruto, but completely new blood. Fresh start for the country. Now, the former Chief Justice, prior to his appointment as Kenya's first Chief Justice under the new 2010 Constitution, has been in lobby groups for years. And therefore is known to lobby for various causes. Is known to be a prominent member of civil society. And so some Kenyans may want to easily brush aside Willy Mutunga's statement. Well, I'd urge you not to be one of those Kenyans. Because if you read the politics in the country clearly at the moment, if you go on the ground and speak to the people, then you will know Mutunga should be paid attention to. What he's saying is going to come to pass. Punda imechoka. Kenyans have gone through a lot since the 2017 elections. Eyes have been opened. It is highly unlikely that the political formations we have always known will triumph in any future election in Kenya. It's highly unlikely. Yes, Kenyans are tribal. Yes, Kenyans usually vote along tribal lines. But then there's something stronger than tribe. It is called the stomach. The economy of Kenya is in ICU. Kenyans are suffering. There's hunger in many parts of the country. You will be surprised what that can do. If I can just give you a quick example. Sudan is a country which was very similar to Kenya. People were divided along tribal, clan, race lines. However, the people were able to unite very quickly under very harsh economic climate where the economy had really suffered and people were suffering. People were able to unite very quickly to remove dictator Bashir. And although all is not well in that country, my point is the people who were previously tribal and racist united in a flash. My friends, I believe that is what's going to happen to Kenya. No matter how skeptical you may be, no matter how you think tribal links and tribal feelings may be so strong in Kenya, things can happen. I mean, this is politics. Things can change and usually change very fast. Anyway, back to our topic. So the naming of a successor in Luo Nyanza, in my view, is not important. It is important in the sense that it clearly illustrates to us the change of tactics by Team Keleweke or the handshake team. The change of gears, the change of strategy, it is important in those terms. But in my view, it is not important in terms of predicting who the next president of Kenya will be. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.